Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be giving you guys a major Washington Commanders cap space update after the first wave of free agency and some of the big trades they made, and if they have some space to possibly make a big move like a Trey Hendrickson trade or just another signing or so. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, all that good stuff. It really helps out a ton. Notification bell as well. Comment down below your favorite transaction the Commanders have made this offseason. For me, it is the Laramie Tunsil trade. There's a little bit of a background noise. I don't know what's going on with the heater or something in my room, but if you hear some, that's why. But I'm going to try to talk the whole time so you guys don't have to hear that. But let's get into it. So the Washington Commanders have made some, adjustments to some contracts. I talked about the Deebo Samuel one. I'm not going to talk about that too much in this video, but I made another video about that recently. This happened, I believe, on Wednesday this week. They also made an adjustment to Andrew Wylie's contract, which I also talked about, but we didn't get the details. So I'm going to go over the details in this video. So I think that was a really good move. But really quickly, with the Deebo Samuel move, basically they made it fully guaranteed. They added $3 million worth of incentives to the deal, and so it's a $17 million guaranteed deal, up to $20 million if all of his incentives hit. And it's a 1-year deal, so none of that money, there's no void years tacked onto it, because they kind of, with this restructure, they kind of declined the player option. So all of that money will be fully guaranteed this year, and none of it in the future years, so they don't have to be tied up to him if it doesn't really work out. So I think that was a good move by Adam Peters in terms of making it all this year when they have the cap space, they can afford it, because they could have just did the $5 million cap hit this year and then like 12.5s on the void year, but next year. But they didn't really need to do that. They have the cap space, might as well pay them all this year, and next year save some cap space for whatever you want to do. Let's go to Andrew Wylie. So they restructured the deal. There was no guarantees, or very few guarantees, I believe, on that deal. So they adjusted it. $1 million signing bonus, $2.5 million base salary, basically 2.495, $15,000 per game roster bonus, max value $255K, $50,000 workout bonus. The cap hit is about $6.6 million, and it was a $3.75 million cap savings to be exact. I think that was a great move by Adam Peters. I think Andrew Wylie, is he an elite tackle? No, he's an okay tackle, probably could be a good guard. So they'll have to figure out what they want to do with Wylie and Brandon Coleman, but they have a decision to make there. And we'll see what they do there. They could possibly put Wylie at right tackle, Coleman at right guard, or vice versa. They could have Coleman at right tackle and Wylie at right guard. I think I switched them up. I might have said the same thing 2 times in a row, but I don't know. You get the idea. But Wylie, happy he's back. Good culture guy, been around now for 2 years. This is his 3rd year with the Commanders, and he had a bounce back here, so happy for him for sure. So let's go into cap space. So just in a comparison to other teams in the league, the Commanders are kind of middle of the pack right now, which isn't bad. They did make a lot of signings. They re-signed a lot of their guys, so for them to be in this spot is fine. You got the Patriots at $80 million, which is way higher than any of their team. They're $16 million higher than the Seahawks, which are number 2. And then you got the Raiders, who are 14 behind the Seahawks. And you go to let's just go to the Packers. They're kind of, we're very similar to them, which they're a little bit higher than middle of the pack. So the Commanders are right basically in the middle. I mean, how many teams are below them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So they're slightly below average, but they have 72 guys signed right now, which a month ago they were really below average in terms of the amount of guys they had signed, but they're above average now. I mean, you look at a lot of the teams below the Commanders, they got 61 guys signed, 63, 69, 74, which is above. But almost every team is below the Commanders in terms of guys signed. So, I think, you got to, take that into account too. And the teams above them, like the Bengals, have 70 guys signed, so we have 2 more guys. You add those 2 guys to the Bengals, and they're probably right around our cap space, maybe a little bit less, depends on what guys they sign. Eagles are at 66, so we have 6 guys more than them. I think we're a little bit above them if you consider that. And the Vikings, a bunch of other teams, we're very similar. I would say we're right in the middle of the pack. But we don't have a lot of dead cap space in the future years, which is good. Looking at the cap space for this year, so Deron Payne is taking up a huge chunk of the cap space, $26 million for, not a great player. That's all I'm going to say. Is he a bad player? No, but not $26 million worth. You got Terry at 25.5, which is fine. He's on one of the last years of his deal, I believe. Might have one more year. Can look at it real quick. And a lot of pop-up ads here, but Terry has, let's see, he has a void year, so really he's a free agent. I believe, they really want to extend him. There's no chance Terry's off the team. Let's just say that. There's no chance he's off the team. I mean, obviously, technically speaking, there's always a chance, but, things would have to go crazy for him not to be on the squad next year. I would assume a, contract restructure. And in terms of the salary per year, it's going to be higher, but the cap number for this year would be a little bit lower. So maybe you go, he's making 25, right? Or that's a cap number. I would say his AAV, the annual earnings, would probably go to like in the 30 range, maybe a little bit higher than 30. He's a really good receiver, and whenever they get paid, they're going to be one of the higher, paid ones. In a couple of years, it'll be, he'll be like 10th, 12th, 13th, 15th, whatever. So I think Terry deserves that $32 million that he's going to get, whatever it is. I mean, T. Higgins got like 32, and Terry's outproduced him every single season, basically. T. Higgins obviously younger, but T. Higgins also dealing with deals with injuries all the time. So I much rather pay Terry than T. Higgins. That's not even accounting for the leader Terry is and the culture and how long he's been here. Laremy Tunsil, $21 million, and I mean, I guess I didn't even talk about the Terry cap savings, but 25 and 21, both those guys could get restructures. Let's finish the talk with Terry about Terry. That 25, he might get 32, 33 a year, but usually year one, the cap hit lower. So I could see that $25 million cap hit going to like 18-ish, and that saves you some cap space as well. But maybe they want to take more into this year so that they have more cap space in the future. Same, could see the same thing with Laremy Tunsil. Marshawn Lattimore, I don't really see it, just because they probably want to see what he can do this year before actually paying him. Deebo, we already talked about that. Nothing else is going to happen. At least I don't think so. Frankie Louvu, no. Cosme, no. I mean, there could be some small restructures with these guys, but nothing major. They did the Andrew Wylie one. I think that's a great move. Maybe they're making some cap space for a Trey Hendrickson trade. I don't think so. I know that's the title of the video, might be the thumbnail too. I don't think that's what they're doing. Maybe they're doing that with the Andrew Wylie restructure, saves them $4 million in cap space. Maybe, they restructure Terry's deal, or extend him. Sorry, not restructure, but extend him, extend Laremy Tunsil, or restructure Tunsil, because I think he has more than just this year on, under contract. Maybe they do that, and in that case, they save, let's say, a combined $15 million between the two of those guys, plus, the Wylie sign, the savings. So you would be up to they're at 22.5. I think I mentioned that earlier, but that would be bad if I didn't. But you guys saw it the whole time. But 22.5, you add 15 of that, 37 million. You definitely have space for Trey Hendrickson. It would be a new deal, so the first year, again, like I said, the cap hit wouldn't be a lot. So he's going to get paid $30+ million a year. There's no doubt about it, in my opinion. And he gets paid whatever 30. The cap hit's probably 18, 20. And you would still have $19-ish million in cap space to pay your rookies and then some other guys you want to bring in. It's enough. I just don't think the Commanders should necessarily do it when they would have to give up a second round, maybe a first round pick, but a second round pick, a third round pick. I don't know. It's just too rich for me. I would not give that up for a guy in Trey Hendrickson, who he's good. He's very good. I would say he might not be in that. Even though he is the sack leader the last couple of years, he might not be in that top tier guys, but I think he's the top of that next tier. I wouldn't take him over Myles Garrett, over Micah Parsons, over maybe a guy who was I going to say, Max Crosby. But right after that, I think he's in that next year. Maybe I'm underrating him a little bit. I know he's good. Trust me, I know he's good, and he's going to get paid. I just don't know if I can justify, giving up a first round pick and more, maybe, or let's just say a first round pick, or maybe less than that. Maybe it's a second round pick, or maybe eventually goes down to the third. If it's a third, we're talking a little bit different. But then also at the same time, the cap space, it could work, but we don't have a lot of cap space. And then also, and me saying we have a decent amount of cap space, that there's a condition of us restructuring that Laremy Tunsil deal, that Terry McLaurin deal. So for that trade to work, we would have to restructure at least one of those deals. But it's possible. But then we also have to give up the draft pick, and that's just, for me, it's not worth it when we gave up a lot of draft capital this year for those three guys right in a row: Laremy Tunsil, Marshawn Lattimore, and Deebo. It's not like we gave up like a first round pick or a lot of second and third round picks, but we gave up a second round pick, a third round pick for next year, a fifth round pick, like fourth round pick. So it's just a lot of trade capital that we gave up, and a lot of picks. So we don't have a lot to make a move. So if we gave up a second round pick, we don't have a first, or we'll have a first round pick, but we won't have a second. It's just not a lot of draft capital that we're going to have for this year. So for me, that's why I would probably stay away from a Trey Hendrickson trade. But hey, that's just me. That's me. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about the Washington Commanders cap space situation. And if you stayed till the end, go ahead and comment down below. Let's go Josh Morgan, former Redskins receiver, 10-ish years ago? I don't know, but 90. Yeah, he played for the Redskins, 99% sure. But yeah, sometimes I mix up the names. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.